Welcome back everyone to your Sunday evening second stimulus check and second stimulus package update. Today is Sunday, December 13th, and we have major news to uncover in regards to the bipartisan proposal. There are some developments with that. Also, a top Democratic leader might be signaling a compromise, and we could actually see both parties come to terms very soon. This week is going to be critical. Also, we have to talk about the news surrounding the vaccine, among other things in the headlines. So without further ado, let's get started right away. Before we get the ball rolling, I have to extend my sincerest thank you, because we have gained so many new subscribers. My channel is really taking off. We actually just shattered another record in regards to views and watch time and subscribers, and that also helps the ad revenue, so I'm able to continue to put out content just like this for you guys. I so greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of your support and everyone that watches, everyone that's been with me since the very beginning, OG fans, as well as people that have hopped on board just in recent days. So thank you so much. And if you have been enjoying my content, give this video a big thumbs up, smash the like button. I would really appreciate that. Just help with that YouTube algorithm so it'll support me and my channel. And if you're not subscribed yet, do consider hitting that big red button, the subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell as well, because I do post videos now every single solitary day. Also, if you'd like, you don't have to. If you're feeling extra generous the holiday season, you could share the video with a friend or two. Share it with a friend or family member, someone that you think will get value out of my videos. So thank you so much, and now we can get started. And by the way, I had to throw this in, side note. As we know, Time Magazine recently named Joe Biden and Kamala Harris the Person of the Year. They named both of them the Person of the Year. And many people actually on their side actually expressed disapproval of that choice, and why didn't they choose the healthcare workers and people on the front lines fighting this virus? Why did they choose Joe Biden and Kamala Harris when they didn't even step into office yet and do anything yet? How do we know they should be Person of the Year? So I had to actually make this, and whether or not you agree with Person of the Year, I certainly may or may not be for it, but you have to agree with this. I think no matter what side you're on, with an 18% approval rating, I think we can all agree that the most evil Person of the Year would be Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. I don't care what side you're on. I think we'll get a majority of people to agree with this cover. I posted this on my Instagram story yesterday. It's still up a little bit. By the time you're watching this, it might not be there anymore. Got some controversy. A lot of people were DMing me and commenting on it and wondering about my affiliations. And I had expressed that I am a moderate. I do like to look at things from a bird's eye point of view. I agree and disagree with both sides of the aisle. And in this case, I might lean a little bit more Democratic, some cases Republican, but I definitely am a moderate. I am a bipartisan, so just want to throw that out there. So let's start with some news regarding the vaccine. We have learned that some of the top ranking officials in the Trump administration will actually be among the first to receive the vaccine, along with healthcare workers and the most vulnerable. And many people and experts would argue that some of these top officials actually led to the nearly 300,000 deaths in the United States of America, because they refused to wear masks, defied public health experts, and downplayed the seriousness of the virus time and time again. According to John Ulliott, the deputy assistant to the president and also a National Security Council spokesperson, he said in the statement, quote, "Senior officials across all three branches of government will receive vaccinations pursuant to continuity of government protocols established in executive policy." He also wanted to ensure the safety of this vaccine and clarify that this is in fact the same vaccine that Americans will be getting. He went on to say, quote, "The American people should have confidence that they are receiving the same safe and effective vaccine as senior officials of the United States government on the advice of public health professionals and national security leadership." The first shipments of Pfizer's highly effective COVID-19 vaccine have started early Sunday and are expected to reach all 50 states by Monday. According to the CDC, healthcare workers on the front lines, along with the most vulnerable nursing home residents, have been deemed the highest priority, and they're going to be receiving their vaccines first before any other groups of people. Countless officials in the Trump administration already tested positive for the virus, so they might already be immune. Maybe they don't even need the vaccine, and they just save those vaccines for other people. Who knows? So let's move on to news now regarding the bipartisan $908 billion proposal that we have covered in several of our last updates. This proposal is not dead yet. It is alive and kicking. In fact, that same bipartisan group of House and Senate members who struggled to finalize that $908 billion bill, they have actually now made a decision, and that is that this proposal is going to be split into two separate proposals. One of these bills, which will eat up the majority of this money, will be a $748 billion bill, and it will include money for small business loans, jobless benefits, and vaccine distribution, among other matters. And then the minority of the total sum will be a $160 billion bill, and that will include funding for state and local aid that will also include liability protections for businesses and other entities. These are, of course, the two biggest sticking points, the crux of the negotiations, why we haven't reached a compromise yet. Now, despite the fact that the latter bill, the $160 billion bill, is much smaller in size compared to the former, it's widely unknown how many House and Senate members will actually be in agreement with and sign on to that second bill, but that first proposal is expected to have extremely high support among virtually everyone. In fact, one of the top negotiators behind the bipartisan bill, a Republican, Senator Bill Cassidy, is vastly confident that a deal will be reached. He had told CNN's Jake Tapper, quote, "We're going to introduce a bill tomorrow night. The leadership can discard it. I can't govern that. There will be a deal," he went on to say. This is, of course, fantastic news and certainly bodes well and will be a turning point in stimulus negotiations that a bill could very well be unveiled by tomorrow. We also learned that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin spoke another time. They spoke on the phone for about a half an hour Sunday afternoon. Pelosi continued to press for state and local aid and asked for changes to how the liability protections have been proposed by Republicans. This is according to a series of tweets from Pelosi's spokesman, Drew Hamill. We have heard from him a lot throughout these negotiations over the last several months. He said in the tweets, quote, "The Speaker believes at a time when the virus is surging that the need for state and local funding is even more important, especially given the state's responsibility for distributing and administering the vaccine." He went on to say, "Healthcare workers and first responders are risking their lives to save lives, and at the same time are at risk of losing their jobs without state and local support." And this is where we get into some very optimistic news, because he is a major player in stimulus negotiations. You know, good old Steny Hoyer, the House Majority Leader, is now caving in. He spent the weekend and talked with House and Senate members on a relief package, and he is now signaling that he'd be willing to accept a deal that does not include the state and local aid the Democrats have been pushing for in order to, quote, in his words, to get the essential done. He had said, quote, "Nancy Pelosi and I spent a lot of time on the phone together, and I am very hopeful that next week we will be able to act on substantial relief." He did concede that the fact that Democrats will not get everything that they wanted. He had said, quote, "Democrats are not going to get everything we want. We think state and local aid is important, and if we can get that, we want to get it, but we want to get aid out to the people who are really, really struggling and are at grave risk," which is so true. I appreciate the fact that he is giving in. Now, why isn't McConnell doing the same? It's horrible. Steny Hoyer said, "We need to get the essential done. We'll have time to get stuff done that we didn't include because we couldn't get political agreement. We'll have time to do that." This was a similar sentiment that we heard from Mitch McConnell, actually, that was suggesting that we could sacrifice, in his own words, the liability protections in order to reject the state and local aid, and we would say that for the new year. So actually quite a similar sentiment to Mitch McConnell. And not just the House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, we have actually now heard from another senator, Joe Manchin. He appeared on Fox News, and the West Virginia Democrat also signaled and teased the fact that we could see this proposal right around the corner. He went on to say, quote, "We've been meeting day and night for the last month. We were on the call all day yesterday. We'll get on the call again this afternoon to finish things up. We have a bill produced for the American people tomorrow of $908 billion. He admitted that there is a lot of compromise in this bill. There was a lot to give up from both sides. He said, quote, "There's a lot of parts of this bill, and in the spirit of compromise, you have to work through all that." Then he wanted to say, "But at the end, you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good." Interestingly enough, this is exactly what Wolf Blitzer told Nancy Pelosi in a fiery CNN interview some months ago. We had talked about that in a previous update a long time ago, but that's exactly what Wolf Blitzer told Nancy Pelosi, and that's what the senator here, Joe Manchin, is reiterating. Manchin is usually regarded as a more moderately minded lawmaker in the upper chamber of Congress. He had said, quote, "We've got people without nutrition, we have people without shelter, we have people without paychecks or unemployed, we have hospitals that are being overburdened, we have healthcare workers, we have schools that need to be attended to." Then he went on to say, this covers all of that, and we get all the small businesses a chance to survive until the first quarter of 2021, he vowed. By then, we should come out with a vaccine that should be helping us. Chris Wallace on Fox News further pressed him, though, and said blatantly, are you going to be able to get everyone in agreement with this bill? There's going to be a lot of stringent people that are going to be against some of the aspects of this bill. And Joe Manchin did concede, quote, there's no guarantee. There's 535 people that have to vote. I can't guarantee they're all going to vote for it and pass it, but I can tell you one thing. What's the alternative? What are you going to do? He's absolutely right, and I have explicitly said in my last several updates that I am in favor of this bipartisan proposal. I do think this is the route we need to go. We can hold off on the liability protections and cut down slightly on that state and local aid. Perhaps it could be a little bit excessive. We want to get that vaccine distributed, but we also need a compromise. We need people to get on board with this bill in order to provide relief to Americans as soon as possible before the new year. I've done the poll a few times. I want to do it once more because we've been garnering so much support and subscribers in just the last 72 hours alone. So I'm going to do it again. If you had to sacrifice, if you had to choose, I know it's like choosing between best friends. If you had to pick, would you give up or would you pick the unemployment benefits or a stimulus check of, say, $600, could be $1,200, but just say $600 for this argument's sake? Which one would you give up, the stimulus check or the unemployment benefits? Let's take a poll. Let me know down below in the comments. And someone that we actually have not heard from in quite some time, someone that hasn't really been instrumental in stimulus agreements, of course, his top negotiators are doing most of the work for him, is actually President Trump. We actually heard from Trump recently in regards to stimulus. Trump is now reiterating once again that he wants more money. We heard this from him quite a few times over the last several months, that he wants actually more money than the Democrats and more funding than the Republicans and Democrats alike. He appeared on Fox News' Brian Kilmeade, in which he said, quote, I'm pushing it very hard, and to be honest with you, if the Democrats really wanted to do the deal, they'd do the deal. He said, quote, right now I want to see checks for more money than they're talking about going to people. So even now, with just a few weeks remaining in office until he is no longer president, it certainly bodes well to hear from the president and know that he is still in favor of signing a bipartisan bill with as much funding as he wants and as much stimulus money as he can get. So we know we have his signature. That definitely is great news. The question still remains, can we get the Senate and the House to agree and ultimately pass this bill? But this has been your Sunday stimulus check and stimulus package update. Let's cross our fingers, hope for good news tomorrow. Hopefully that package will be unveiled. They are a week late. We were actually expecting it to come this week, but it didn't. But now it looks like we might have an agreement, hopefully. But of course, you cannot believe anything anyone says anymore at this point. But I do thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, smash the like button. Thank you very much. Would appreciate that. And if you want to see more videos from my channel, hit that big red button, the subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell as well. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.